Hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Richard, and in this video I'm going to show you how I start X-Plane and ForeFlight together. So obviously I've got X-Plane started, and before I actually pick the airport and the runway, I'd like to know what the weather is. So I'll go over to these views of ForeFlight. This one shows the forecast for the day, and it looks like it got a high pressure system sitting here. It's going to be a really nice day. And over here, this is the ForeFlight Grand Strand weather for this morning. It's the latest VFR forecast, and it shows that the time is about 9 o'clock and Eastern time, and it's got 10 knots of wind. I'm sorry, 6 knots of wind at 010. Visibility is good. Sky condition is clear. Altimeter is 3010, and the density altitude even if you want it. Okay, so that aside, I think I will pick runway. There we go, runway 05, based on the winds. So now we'll get that going and confirm it by listening to the ATIS frequency. Okay, we're about ready to load here, and we'll be starting out on the runway. Okay, we're up and running. Okay, we know the, well, I'll leave that running. Hold on a minute. We know that it's about 30107890, and it might have changed a little bit. We'll put this one up to about right there. Always like to set both because I rely on this one sometimes. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is listen to the weather.
Grand Strand information, Quebec. 1300 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable. Visibility 10. Sky clear. Temperature 16. Dew point 13. Altimeter 3008. Arriving runway 05. Departing runway 05. Advise on initial contact UF Quebec.
Okay, so as I heard it there, I put in 3008, and that's going to be 3008. It's close enough. Okay, so now that that's set, I actually have a checklist here for the things you better do before you take off. Okay, I'm going to put that away and bring up the checklist. Okay, so the checklist is right here. So this is a checklist. If you're starting on the runway, these are the things you really should do before you take off. Okay, so I've got this on my iPad. ForeFlight's running on my iPad over here. So I'm going to put this away and we'll call these off. Okay, so let me bring that up again. And here we go. So the first thing is fuel tank to the fullest tank. Okay, so we'll look back here, and we want to set it to the fullest tank. They're both the same right now, so I'll set it to the left tank. Okay, and there we go, set to the left tank. Okay, next one is, do we have enough fuel? Okay, the answer is, yep, plenty of fuel. Okay, next we got the flight plan because we're not flying anywhere but staying in the pattern. And the G1000 flight plan agrees with that. The COM2 active frequency is set to departure ATIS, and we just listened to it. And the primary flight display should be, here we go, primary flight display should be set to have the CDI set to VOR1, and I want VOR1 here to be the VOR frequency. And the next checklist item is set the Pfd button to bearing 1 so we get the DME off of that. And we'll click back on that. And then we want to set the heading bug. I'm going to move the heading bug around to 0.5, which is 0.55, by the way, for magnetic is the exact runway heading, so I'll set it there. Okay, checklist done, checklist done. And we've got the VOR to the closest VOR. And the next thing we need to do is make sure that the vertical speed is properly preset. And so here's the vertical speed right there, and it is preset to 1200. That's good, because that's the altitude vertical speed I want to use on takeoff. Now we'll turn that off. Okay, now after doing that, you'll see that it changed the takeoff trim. So I have a button here to change the takeoff trim back to neutral. Okay, right there, it's set to neutral. Okay, so now we got to make sure that the autopilot is turned off, and it is. And now we need to make sure that the flaps are set for takeoff. So down one clicker flap, and it's in the green. Trim is set, flaps are set, prop lever and mixture lever are full forward now. Actually wasn't, and it was back here. It was right there a little bit, because that's usually where you get the 2400 RPM after takeoff. Okay, so I think we're set to take off. Checklist is complete. I'm going to release the brakes and steer as I slowly add the power. Okay, about a 5-second count to go to full power here. There we go, full power. Watching the airspeeds alive. Coming up to 59, and we're in the air. Okay, 65, 70, positive rate of climb, flap is going up. And we'll keep the nose on the horizon here. And here's where I'll turn on the heading hold and the vertical speed hold. And at the same time here, I'm going to pull the throttle, the blue lever. You can see the RPM is going back to 2400, right about there. Close enough. And we'll be climbing out. The takeoff is quite simply easier sometimes, especially when you got a hazy day, nighttime flying, or IFR. I always use the autopilot. Now that beep was the fact that we're going to level off at 2000, so it's just a warning to wake up and get ready to pull back the power. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull the power back a little bit. The inches of mercury you can see there is 28. I'm probably going to pull it back to somewhere around 27. Okay, we'll pull it back a little bit. And that'll just keep our airspeed below 90. And about 400, 300 feet more to go to level off. And we'll let the nose lower. As you can see, it's lowering. As it does so, I'll pull the inches of mercury back to at least 2000, maybe 20 inches of mercury. Now I've got it set to 18.7 inches of mercury, and that'll let the airplane increase its airspeed to probably 110 to 115. We'll see how it goes. One of the nice things about the autopilot is as those speeds change, it's constantly moving. I can show you that by looking back here, and you'll see that wheel moving slowly down here. So that wheel is moving slowly to keep the airplane level. Okay. And as it gets up and finds its final altitude, that trim wheel will keeping you level by the autopilot. One of the things that you have to realize is that is a lot of trim, and when you see me flying manually on takeoff, you will see me trimming constantly. I'll say trim, 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 and that's only about 4 clicks, and out of about 10 or 15 clicks that I have to do to keep it level. Okay, so where are we? Let's take a look. All right, we can see here that we are 5 miles um, uh, northeast of the airport, and over here there's the airport, and there we are. Okay, so that's it for this video. I wanted to show you the things that I use with ForeFlight and taking off and doing that all at the same time. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.